CEO Wisdom Pod with Elias Andersen. He is CEO and founder at HearMeCheer. Young guy, 23 years old, founded his first biz at 18. Goes to the gym 5 times a week, is bulking up slowly but surely, and is not afraid to lose his hair through wearing a cap, even on a bad hair day. So, Elias, glad to have you on. Can you tell us a bit more about yourself and your business?
Yeah, sure can. So, I started entrepreneurship at 18. Actually, earlier than that, I worked at a company I was the eighth employee at, called Collegiate Baseball Scouting Network, and we grew exponentially in the first few years. I was 15 years old at the time. We had hundreds of employees, hundreds of basically, college age students recording stats and getting information on players, and we would compile it all and sell it to MLB teams. So that was my first job. I was head of head of social media, head of growth, working alongside their co-founders to really propel this. And that's where I kind of fell in love with both sports and business. And then when I was 18, I actually left that company to go start my own company, which was at the time called Champ Tracks, which has since been renamed Hear Me Cheer. We do something slightly different, but when I was 18, I started a player tracking company for baseball. So we were able to track athletes by placing RFID tags on them and actually watch their movement on the field, and we could tell you how fast they were running, what their energy levels were like. We could tell all these different metrics with $100 pieces of equipment, that we then use in the minor leagues and in all the youth baseball leagues to predict who's going to be the next breakout star in baseball. So we were selling that to a bunch of MLB teams, and different platforms. A lot of the contacts from the past company, which really helps, obviously, getting a jump start. But then COVID hit. Actually, I was 20. I decided to pivot the business. We'd done a little bit of revenue, but not much. We had some investors, so I had a little bit of cash. So we pivoted into Hear Me Cheer, which we did audio for sports teams during COVID. We did audio for a lot of different leagues, organizations, teams, across pro sports, across esports, across video games. We worked with multinational organizations, sporting leagues, teams, and pretty much everything in between, to bring fan noise back during COVID.
Thanks. You see a website here. It's not letting me. So basically, it's an app, and spectators tune in, and once they cheer, which is pretty cool, by the way. It's smart because everyone cheers like when they watch their favorite games in Mexico or in Canada when it's hockey.
Yeah.
And on the other side, in the arena, you hear the noise.
Yeah, so we did that for a little bit during COVID, and then since then we've kind of switched. We don't really play the noise inside the arena as much as we do on the app. So it's an idea for people who are watching the game in their man cave, or their den or whatever it is, and they want to feel like they have 10 people around them all watching and cheering together. So instead of getting all their friends to come over, they can all kind of join in this kind of audio chat, that really enables kind of cheering more so than conversation. We're not an app that's supposed to be a watch party. We're more so designed as an app that's supposed to be like a cheer along, is what we call it.
It's pretty cool. Why are you so ambitious?
It's a interesting
Like,
question. I mean,
what's your problem? I asked it like that way. What's wrong with you?
I well, if you want to hear what's really wrong with me, it's I actually had to drop out of school because I couldn't concentrate because I have epilepsy. And so I couldn't stay focused. I was having seizures. My doctor was like, "Hey, you gotta like drop out of school, or one of these seizures could be like lethal," basically, was the way he described it. So, you know, I trusted that advice. I dropped out of university at like after a year and a half of engineering school, and I was like, well, I got to do something with my life, and it can't be, it can't be to sit here and feel bad about myself for whatever conditions I do or do not have. I got to put all that behind me and really, put myself in the best light possible. My dad's an entrepreneur. I got other people in the family that are entrepreneurs. That's just always been a part of me.
I One of my friends is the CEO of Epilepsy NorCal, so in California.
Oh yeah.
Shout out to Carlos Quesada. I'm meeting again with him next week. And yeah, I understood the prevalence of epilepsy and how much suffering it causes, right? Like as a kid going into class, and I mean your classmates have seen you shaking on the floor, literally, and that is like concerning for them, right? So must be very uncomfortable to just show up in class. Plus, yeah, there's the more concerning factor, if that's not enough, well, that you can hit your head on your desk and pretty much die. So wow. At what age did you started, like, yeah, branching out by yourself at 17?
Yeah, I actually did projects as early as like when I was like 12 years old, working on different things. I did science fair. I was a science fair kid. So if you don't know what science fair is, it's like a project that people do in school when they're growing up. A lot of people just do like these, you know, baking soda volcanoes or something like that. But it was I really saw people in my school before me come and actually go to nationals. And my brothers both went to nationals for science fair. So when I was younger, I was like, I got to go to nationals. Like that's my goal. I got to go to Canada wide science fair. So I achieved that goal in grade 8. I won gold medal there for an innovation. And then in grade 9, or actually grade 9 and grade 10, I went to Canada wide science fair again, winning more medals. But then grade 11, I went to international science fair in LA. So I represented Canada at that fair. So innovation, I would say, has always been a big part. I look around the room and I see a million problems that aren't solved, and I think, okay, my brain's like, how do I solve all million problems? And I have to dial it back and be like, okay, let's focus on one at a time, and just try and make someone's life a little bit better than it was when I woke up in the morning. And that's all I can really ask for.
So you're a little genius.
I mean, you could call me whatever you want to call me.
Yeah, tags are interesting, right? Tagging people. If we would tag people, like, you'd probably have 10,000 tags on you. Yeah, it's hard to define people or to box people. Just helps us
Yeah.
reason and helps us learn. Do you feel that this epilepsy, it has given you superpowers as well?
Yeah, I think in certain ways it definitely can. I think it's given me the ability to feel like I have to go make something of myself. It really, you know what it did when my doctor pulled me aside. I have grand mal seizures, which are really bad, by the way. I had 17 of them in the span of like 18 months. And um and so each of those seizures, I was informed by my doctor, I had like a single digit percent of having SUDEP, basically, which is sudden unexpected death in epileptic patients. So that's like, just puts your life into perspective when something like that, when you really pull the stats out and you're like, holy cow, like there's like a decent chance that I shouldn't be here right now. And I think that's a superpower. It's not the fact that I have epilepsy, it's the fact that I feel like, there's a large part of me that needs to get going, because life is way too short. And I've been in fairly bad car accident, and like, I think everything that's happened, all the adversity, I haven't even gone through a lot of stuff compared to a lot of people. But everybody's on their own journey, and I think, as we kind of, get to the next spot in our lives and stuff, that's a really interesting thing to kind of keep in perspective.
Car accidents because of seizure, or just like being in a car accident?
No, I was just like, I mean, that was actually like one of the reasons I think I started having seizures. So I was
Ooh,
like I was 15,
yeah.
um, and I was coming home from a basketball game, and we were stopped at a red light, and a car just hit us like going, 60 kilometers an hour right into our back. And I was in the back seat. I was in the middle row, actually. If I was in the back row, I guarantee I wouldn't be here right now.
Or
Um,
there's people in the back row?
no, there wasn't. No, thankfully, yeah.
Oof.
So it was it's a 3-row car, but there's only 4 of us in it. So the frame bent all the way back to like, 2 feet behind my head or whatever, like all the way through the back seat. So yeah, no, it's crazy to think about. And I think, that's
Drunk
one
or distracted driver?
uh uh you know, I don't want to get too far into it, but
Because it's still unraveling or what?
no, no, drunk and illegally in the country, and
How did
just
you forgive that person?
I I mean, I didn't, but it doesn't matter.
Still
We're not in
working.
the country. They're not in the country. They not their life and my life don't coincide at all. I mean, like, I would say I forgive them, um, because like honestly, I it's all behind me at this point. But it's just, it also, makes you realize like I have epilepsy. I haven't had a seizure in 3.5 years. I
Okay.
have a license, but I don't like driving because, I feel like if I ever something like that were to ever happen while I'm in a car, it just would put so much unneeded and unwanted
Too much
pressure on.
risks.
Yeah,
Too much
exactly.
risks. And yeah, that's two of us. If that can reassure, well, I mean, I don't have epilepsy, but I don't drive cars. I think they're fucking dangerous. I think I'm dangerous behind the wheel.
Yeah,
I
no,
drive
no,
fast, like my brain, it operates on another level. I drive good, but I still drive with slow people that have very slow reflexes. Um, so yeah, I'm kind of a public danger in that regards, but okay, well, and the 3 years, wow, can you control like these seizures and make sure that you don't have them and avoid the triggers?
I'm on meds, so I haven't had one in 3 years. So it's been since uh just before COVID.
Wow,
Um
man.
3.5 years now, yeah. So that's like it was like March or no, January of 2020. So
Hmm.
something along those lines. I can't remember exactly, but
And you can
uh
feel the symptoms, right? So if you feel like dizzy, you're just gonna go on the floor.
yeah, exactly. Well, not like go on the more so just like lie in bed.
Okay.
Yeah. Like
Yeah, yeah.
or,
In the
or
bed
like
is pretty safe.
yeah, or like I won't go. The other thing is like people don't think about, but like think about like your everyday activities that you do. You
Yeah.
walk down a sidewalk. You're like 4 feet from being in the middle of traffic when you walk down a sidewalk. You get on the subway. There's 3 feet between the back of the subway and where the tracks are. Most people, they stand there. No thought goes through their mind, like, what if I fall onto the tracks? But just like for the rest of my life, that's just always going to be thought in the back of your mind. It's like, what would happen if I had a seizure right now? So it's 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 I'm glad we went down this path because I do like talking about epilepsy. I don't think enough people talk about because there's a lot of stuff people don't really understand about it. And I get asked a lot of the same questions when I tell people I'm epileptic. It's like, oh, so I can't shine lights at you? It's like, no, that's a very small amount of people with epilepsy. Or it's just
Don't they
questions
dare
like
shine a fucking light at me. I hate it when my wife's we're at night and she has her light in her iPhone. Don't you dare shine a light at me.
that.
That's one of the things that can piss me off at night.
It's still annoying, but it's not going to cause me to have a seizure.
Uh, you're a beast, man. You're one, you're like smart, and two, like you're a warrior. I'd invest in you, whatever you start. Okay, hear me cheer. That is pretty cool. I love the idea. It's really innovative as well. Like, how did you get the idea?
Actually, it was my dad's idea. And
Props to your dad.
I don't like admitting that very often, but no, he's our CTO actually. So he came to me and said, "Look, COVID's going to shut down sports, but sports might come back before fans come back. And what is the broadcast going to feel like? So we were initially just thinking about sports. Our first event was ESPN boxing. It was the most amazing thing. Think about it. You're 20, put yourself in my shoes. You're a 20-year-old, you've just dropped out of school. You've started building this product 2 months ago. ESPN calls you and they say, I need to use this product for our nationally televised event on June 1st. And
Holy
it's like
shit.
May 24th or May 23rd at that point, a week before the event. And I said, guys, I can't be ready in that time. They said, we don't, that doesn't matter to us. They're like, we don't care if you're going to be ready or not. We have to use it. So
Right.
I'm scrambling. We got like 3 developers that are working like, this is like movie level stuff that you can't make this up. We got like 3 developers that are working like overtime trying to get this product done. I remember like 2 days before there was a giant, like everything just stopped working. And we were like, oh, what's going to happen? And we realized it was just a bug. But I mean, like, those are the kind of things that like you in your founder journey, you have to go through. And it's not something that people talk about. There's always those moments of self-doubt that you kind of go through right before something really good actually happens. And so we started with ESPN. They announced it. It was the first event back from COVID on ESPN, first live sporting event in 4 months. So every single person in the whole friggin' country was tuning into this event, right? This is a boxing event. I think it was like one of the highest watched boxing events of all time. And it wasn't a crazy main card or anything like that. It was just your average, whatever, undercard and main card. So basically at the start of the event, they said, if you want to be part of the crowd today, go to espn.hearmecheer.com, and they put a link at the bottom of the screen. So what happens, we have 75,000 people come to our platform. We have 2,500 people fill out a thing on our website saying, I want to do an event with you guys.
Whoa, crazy shit.
Yeah, this is crazy. Like, I might never get a moment like that again in my life. And I'm fine with that.
I think you will. I think you will.
Absolutely absurd.
Because this is like a ripple effect, right? So it goes out and then it goes out again. I mean, yeah, from a starting perspective, you won't ever, but it'll grow. What year was that?
2020, June.
Okay, June. What has happened since then? Have you felt the ripple?
Well, so then what happened was the next few months, we did a lot of events. We did around 1,000 big events, and we did around 30,000 small events. And then we signed a deal with a horse racing company,
nice.
a Web3 horse racing company called Zed Run.
Wow.
And so we did all of their audio for like 6 months. And we also worked with Blizzard. We worked to do like big events for them.
League of Legends would be a nice one.
MLS. Oh, we did Overwatch with Blizzard.
Nice.
And we did their grand finals one year, and we did some other events. And then we did MLS. We did a bunch of events with the Red Bulls. Then we did EPL. We did a bunch of events with the Wolverhampton Wanderers. We did a bunch of events for the U.S. election, so in U.S. politics.
When are you gonna land UFC? That's what's next.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. Yeah. So if anyone from the UFC is watching this, shoot me a message. But yeah, no, it's honestly a really been a really amazing, last few years. What happened was, as fans kind of came back into the stands, we had to make a pivot. So we pivoted towards like metaverse and virtual platforms. So game engines, metaverse platforms, virtual concerts, different things like that. And that was a really good pivot for us. We've done a lot in the Web3 space. We're now working with a bunch of different game companies. We haven't launched a ton yet, but we're getting ready to launch a lot of those in the next 6 months.
So 200 big events, 3,000 smallish events, right? These are the stats.
No, no, 1,000 big events, 1,000 events where we had more than 1,000 people on the platform, which is what
Okay,
we define as a big event.
so that's big money right there. How much you charge per big event and how much you charge per small event? Is it like API calls or?
Yeah, we don't charge on API calls. We kind of we came up with a custom pricing model for our customers. Because a lot of them wanted like, oh, we want a discount because we're really big, and we were like, yeah, we'll do that, whatever. We were just trying to get as many customers as we can. So for the big events, you can think anywhere between like 1,000 and 3,000-4,000. There were some frees,
Man,
but
that's so
not
cheap.
much. Yeah.
Why are you underselling yourself like that? I would
I,
expect like 50 to 100K.
per event? No, no, because we're not
These guys have huge budgets. I mean, you probably talk with the innovation department because it's like, hey, let's try this new stuff. Maybe I'm wrong on that. Maybe it's just like straight up product or marketing.
yeah, it's
Um,
product usually. Yeah.
okay. These guys have huge budgets, man.
No, but the issue is that they didn't during COVID.
Okay.
So they had to
Yeah, yeah.
cut off their whole innovation budget because there's no fans in the stands. If it was normal times, I think I would have been able to 10x what we did in sales
Yeah, yeah.
in those years. But it wasn't.
It's
So
still pretty significant.
yeah, it was significant, and we did quite a bit of revenue on the small events too. We were doing them for anywhere from $50 to, I don't know. Some of them were free too. Like we did give away a few events to people to
Mhm.
say, okay, come do 3 or 4 events with us for free,
Yeah,
and if you don't like us, you can walk away.
yeah,
We didn't have a single person walk away. Those converted at such a high rate because everyone was like, this is awesome. People
yeah.
love hearing. The one thing was we had to do a lot of moderation because
Okay.
they don't want they don't want people yelling out like fuck you or whatever like all across the thing. So
I thought it was like a synthetic noise. I thought it was like just take whoever's screaming at what frequency and put it in a pool and generate a synthetic noise.
no, no, nothing we do is synthetic. So everything we do is we pull everyone's audio to a server, and then we push it into one audio stream, and then we send it back down. We make it sound like an actual crowd though, and I can send you some samples that you can kind of
Yeah,
push into
please do. I'm
podcasts.
very bullish on your business, by the way. I love it. I'd love to connect you with a bunch of folks. Are you raising funds?
We are, yeah. We're raising around right now.
How much?
Well, we're raising a bridge round so that we can raise a larger round. We're just doing like a bridge round of 250K,
Okay.
trying to get to like that next step. But we also ultimately we want to raise around between $3 and $5 million.
And yeah, I can imagine, the idiots, especially in the gaming world, like trying to scream stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
How
Well,
how do you do that? AI or
no, so it's all done base case. So basically, here's the sauce. Every company like Zoom, Google Meet, all of those platforms, Discord, you name it, they all run audio the same way. What they're doing is they're optimizing for speech. So they want everyone who's talking to be heard as if they're the main source of contact, which is why there's like Zoom bombing. Because when someone yells, they get pushed to the front, their audio goes up to like 100, and they can now freely say whatever they want to say. But what we decided to do was exact opposite. We were like, what if we take everyone's audio and say, we're going to cap everyone at 20 audio? Like, obviously these are arbitrary units, but we're going to cap everyone at 20%. Say, now, even if you're yelling as loud as you can and saying words, if there's 100 people on the platform who are all capped at the same level, you're not going to be heard above them. You're
have
just
it,
not.
dude?
It's the same principles. Like when you hold a mic up at a concert, you don't hear people's individual conversations, but you hear the overall feeling of the crowd, and you hear what's going on in between all these sections. And if everyone yells, let's go baseball, such a bad example, but if everyone yells at like in sync, it will come through on the broadcast. That's the same with our platform. If everyone wants to chant, let's go Blue Jays, that will come through on the platform because That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make it feel like an actual active crowd. So we're working with concert promoters who are doing virtual concerts. We're working with game engines that want more realistic feeling for games. We're working with game studios for those games. But yeah, I mean, the concerts and sporting events in the metaverse, and also any like sort of like live streamed concerts and live streamed sporting events, we want to be that platform that everyone can kind of pull from.
It's fantastic, man. I love it. I'd still have a version that would be totally uncensored. In some cases, it would be funny, no?
I
And
mean,
I
this
would
is
have one
uncensored
semi
here.
uncensored. Like if it's dumb idiocy, like someone seeking attention, sure. But it can be cool to hear it on a UFC match, fuck him up, you know?
Yeah,
Come
no,
on, fuck him up.
definitely. And you could have multiple channels too. Like we've done things where it's like, oh, if you're under, like, you just put your birthday in, and if you're under 18, you get added to the channel where, there's not as much, we don't allow that kind of thing. And then if you're above 18, you get added to the channel where it's like, whoever cares, whoever can say whatever they want, and we don't worry about what people are saying. And to be fair, we don't censor anything. The only way we censor it is just by lowering people's volumes. So it's not designed to allow you to talk to each other. It's designed to allow you to hear what people are cheering about. And I think there's fundamentally a huge difference in the way that audio is done for those two use cases.
Really bullish on what you're doing. What's next for you in terms of goals this year, except drinking water?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big water drinker, but
Same here.
I would say, I don't know, like, I really want to obviously raise a little bit of cash. I want to expand our team. I think we're a little bit understaffed right now. And I really want to get us into, our target by mid next year is to have 5 big game studios using our engine, and to be in 3 metaverse concert or live stream concert platforms. So whether that be something like Wave, if you've seen their Justin Bieber concerts that are, digital and everything. There's a number of other kind of platforms that are like that. There's also like festivals that offer metaverse experiences. So we've been in talks with a lot of festivals too and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, my goal is just to increase sales right now. As a CEO's goal should almost always be.
Right. Really bullish on your shit, dude. So I speak with a lot of sports CEO. I'm gonna make sure to connect you. For example, I had the national rugby league guy. That was last week. I had the national cyclist CEO lady last week, Andrea. Great people. They could all use your product. Basically, it would qualify as somewhat smallish, but these sports are growing.
No,
I'm
no,
a
definitely. I mean, we don't see clients as being like smaller, bigger. Usually we see them as growing or staying the same size. I mean, a lot of the ones that are smaller have an opportunity to get to that
yeah.
much bigger size.
I'm less bullish than I was on gaming though. This is mostly for ethical reasons. I don't think that gaming can bring a lot of value to this world. It can create a Ready Player One world, and we'll reserve that one for another day, you and I at the round 2 on the pod. But yeah, super fun what you're building. I'll be interviewing a bunch of these CEOs too and see if I can connect you. Last but not least, you're on your deathbed. What will you want to have accomplished in your life?
That's a deep question. I think I just want to, I know might be cliche to say, but I think I just want to leave the world in a better spot than when I got here. And whether that's, helping people out on a kind of day-to-day basis. I'm always, trying to help my friends and family, make sure that they have jobs, make sure that they can, provide for people that they care about. And I think that I'm in a really fortunate position because there's a real need for my skill set, and there's a real opportunity for to generate value and everything. And I think not everyone has that. I mean, I think everyone has strengths at different things, but I don't think everyone's strengths are equally um, are equally able to generate revenue for them. and generate income. So I think there are some people, if you think about artists, I think that there's, 99% of artists who are talented aren't making enough to make a living on doing that, and they have to do other things on the side. And so that's the kind of people that I want to help out, so they can both realize their dream and make sure that their families are taken care of and everything like that. So yeah.
Love it, dude. All right. So that was Elias Andersen. His company is called HearMeCheer.com. And I am Charles Cormier, your host, CEO, wisdompodcast.com. If you want to start or scale or be invited to podcast, that is podfire.com.